Yo, what's up? It's your girl Bree at Skulls and Bones 444. Please bear with me if I sound tired. I am. It's been a long week, a long, busy week, okay? But, hey, tomorrow's Friday, right? Anyways, I had a lot of downloads during Mother's Day weekend and with the full moon that we had with Scorpio. So, here we go. I just say, hey there, my dearest collective. I hope you all had a great Mother's Day, and this includes mothers of all types. Okay, mothers who are both young and old, but are still pains in our asses, lol. Expectant mothers, mothers who have passed away, my condolences. Single mothers, adopted mothers, foster mothers, women who are having issues conceiving, my condolences. Mothers who have suffered the pain and heartache of losing their children, whether it be miscarriage or stillborns. My condolences, guys. So now that we've got that part out of the way, it's time to get down to business. When I say business, I'm not even sure where to start because I downloaded so much information and it wasn't the best. So please just try to follow along the best that you can. These downloads came, like I said, during Mother's Day weekend and the full moon in Scorpio, which was just this past Monday. And I don't know about you guys, man, but in the collective population, but for me, it was intense. I felt like it was very, very intense. Okay. And I sensed a lot of people from the coven were getting their asses whooped, both physically and spiritually. Now, back to what I was saying about my downloads not being the most pleasant. I must, I say it again, I must give a trigger warning because this has to do with some nasty secrets about the karmic masculine that have been going on for years now. Okay? But I will spare you a lot of the bullshit because we just celebrated Mother's Day. Okay? For God's sakes. Anyways, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but several months ago I posted a recording about child sex trafficking. However, the recording it was listed as private, and I think that was due to the image that I used. But given how this information entails some serious shit, it needs to get out there one way or another. I'm gonna use a different image and maybe I'll have better luck that way. So, hmm. With that being said, it needs to be known that the karmic masculine's sexual fetishes with minors, it's getting 10 times worse. Yes, I know. We just celebrated Mother's Day. Okay, like I know y'all don't want to hear this shit, but this could save a child. I swear to God. This could very well save a child. Okay. Furthermore, these downloads came with graphic images. But don't worry, like I said, I'm gonna spare you that shit because this topic is sensitive as enough. By now, we all know that the karmic masculine is a pedophile. But I'm not sure if you remember me mentioning the fact that throughout the whole damn Death Magic project, he would take random visits using the money that he was stealing from others, including the Divine Feminine's inheritance. That is, if she was left anything and if she was even aware of it prior to this, okay? He would take random visits to Asia and other places where sex with minors is acceptable. When he was in those foreign countries, he would gladly pay to have intercourse with minors that were much, much younger than him. I'm talking about kids between the ages of 10 to 16, but based on my downloads, He preferred those between 12 to 14. Given this information, which is based on my downloads, the shit is just disgusting and repulsive. And the karmic masculine needs some deep psychiatric help and therapy. And if you ask me, I totally firmly believe that he deserves to be in prison, or fuck it, he needs to be on death row. Plain and simple. I said it. So, furthermore, what I could see, he's thoroughly enjoyed having intercourse with minors for years and has gone so far as to make child Pornography. He knew how to play the game, so to speak, in regards to coming off as the nice guy, or as we call it, the wolf in sheep's clothing. So essentially, he was ruining these kids' innocence at a young and tender age, just like he was, and that's where his inner childhood trauma stems from. But in his mind, revenge is always the greatest solution because his victims get to feel the pain that he felt when he was sexually violated. In addition to this, I think that the karmic masculine has kept these videos for years and watches them during his private times as his guilty pleasure. I also saw an image of these videos stored in a cardboard box, okay? And just like he has a sex tape of someone that he had sex with, okay, to use it as blackmail if he ever needs to embarrass this individual, okay? And I sense that this box is stored somewhere in a secret closet that the karmic masculine built, or perhaps it's in an attic somewhere. It's sealed together with scotch tape, but doesn't have a label on it, except for a symbol that looks similar to a Norwegian sigil, like pagan Norwegian sigil. If I'm correct, okay, that's pagan Norse mythology. But if I'm wrong, please don't chop my head off. 7:47 on the timer. Now, let's see. Now going back to the comic masculine's secret about his desire for minors, which he's kept for a long ass time now. I did get an image about how the karmic masculine decided to start a secret society of child sex trafficking because he just couldn't get his sexual needs fulfilled. So he's used the dark web to buy children from other countries, such as Asia, Eastern Europe, South America, etc. But from what I could sense, his favorite clients were from Eastern Europe, okay? And when I say Eastern Europe, I'm talking specifically Germany, Russia, and Poland. Now, as most of you guys can guess, these minors are children who have been kidnapped or sold into sex trafficking by their own parents, unfortunately. However, in regards to this secret society, I felt like there were women involved as well, because not only was there money involved, I think this money could have come from the offshore accounts that I mentioned several times in the past. But more importantly, these women were able to put up a childlike facade when talking to these kids and making them feel more comfortable and that they were going to be okay and, well taken care of. But unfortunately, little did those kids know. Trigger warning. I'm not gonna go into details about all the horrible things that were done to these kids because I'm sure you guys can use your imagination. And on a really sad note, some of these kids were used for sacrifices. On another note, I did have downloads about two different girls that ended up getting pregnant by the karmic masculine. First girl, I sensed that her name could have been Brittany, Brooke, or Ashley. She was about 11 to 12 years old and told her parents what happened. And of course, they took her to the local authorities. Okay. And then they questioned her about who did it to her. But she gave them the wrong answer because the karmic masculine lied about his name so that the cops would have a harder time finding him. From what I could sense, this child is going to be one of those cases of a child having a child. That sucks, man. It's not her fault. It really sucks. The other girl is a 14-year-old high school girl, and I think her name could have been Stephanie or Stacy, and she met the karmic masculine at a high school party. None of the other kids suspected anything weird about him or asked about his age, and that was just because he was selling some good ass drugs. Because we gotta remember, guys, this karmic masculine is a drug lord and always drunk. 11:55 on the timer. Anyways, and well, what do teenagers like to do? They like to get fucked up and party and whatnot. Anyways, he was selling good drugs. Nobody suspected a goddamn thing about him. Okay. So, and as the story goes on, this chick and the karmic masculine end up dating. So, let you guys know, karmic masculine would multitask between stalking her, okay, and the divine masculine, excuse me, the divine feminine at the same time. He would multitask between stalking this high school chick and the divine feminine at the same time, and he also had another partner in crime that would take turns in stalking high school chick and the divine feminine. Okay, this is some psychotic shit. Hmm, let's see. And well, as they kept on dating, over time he becomes extremely controlling to the point where he dictates what she's allowed to wear at school. The story ends up where she finds out that she's pregnant, and the karmic masculine flips the fuck out because he thinks that she cheated on him. I'm not going to go into details about the images that I saw of how he punished her for her actions, but let's just say that she's no longer with us, fortunately. I know that this was difficult to listen to, folks, but if you made it to the end, then I greatly appreciate that. Hopefully, we can catch this karmic masculine and throw the book at him in court. I love you, my collective. I know that was probably not a message y'all wanted to hear after Mother's Day weekend, but it happened for a reason that I had to give that message out. And like I said, seriously, maybe it can help a child. Save a child and get this fucker into prison and, like I said, better yet, on death row. Okay. Have a lovely night, guys. See you tomorrow.